The ash plains of Corval stretched endlessly beneath a crimson sky, and Kayla Vryn stood at their center, breathing hard through her mandibles. Her azure chitin armor was cracked in 3 places, ichor seeping through the fractures. Around her the Skrell circled, 12 of them, their segmented bodies undulating across the scorched earth like mechanical serpents, optical clusters glowing with predatory hunger. Her spear lay in 2 pieces at her feet. Kayla's secondary arms hung limp, the nerves severed by a Skrell blade earlier in the ambush. She could still fight with her primary arms, but against 12? The odds were calculated, processed, and filed away in the cold logic centers of her mind. Unsurvivable. Still, she raised her fists. The Vrinthian creed demanded it. Better to die standing than to beg kneeling. The Skrell leader chittered, its translation collar crackling. Surrender, Vrinthian. Your unit is dead. Your ship is scrap. You are alone. Then you'll have to work for it, Kayla replied, mandibles clicking in defiance. The Skrell charged. And then the sky screamed. Something punched through the atmosphere with a sound like reality tearing, a streak of white-hot metal and plasma that slammed into the ground between Kayla and her attackers. The shockwave threw the Skrell backward like scattered insects. Kayla's legs locked, keeping her upright as dust and debris mushroomed outward. When the smoke cleared, a crater smoldered where nothing had been moments before. At its center stood a figure in battered armor, scorched black and still venting heat. The helmet turned toward her, and through the cracked visor Kayla saw a face, pale skin, 2 eyes forward-facing like a predator, and a grin that somehow looked both insane and completely at ease. "Mind if I join the fight?" the human asked. Kayla's translator struggled with the inflection. Casual, almost amused. "You're human," she said, the statement half question, half accusation. Humans were legends on the Outer Rim, stories told by traitors and mercenaries, crazy, reckless, unkillable. "Guilty," the human said, rolling his shoulders. He pulled something from his back, a weapon crude by galactic standards, projectile-based. Primitive. "Name's Darren Holt. Sorry about the entrance. Orbital drop pods aren't exactly known for their subtlety." The Skrell were recovering, regrouping, their formation tightening. 12 became 10 as 2 lay motionless in the crater's edge. "You should run," Kayla said. "I'm already dead. No need for 2 corpses." Darren laughed, actually laughed as he chambered around. "Lady, I just fell from orbit in a metal coffin doing Mach 20. Running isn't really my style." He glanced at her broken spear. "Besides, looks like you could use a hand. Or 4. How many do your people have again?" 4, Kayla said, bewildered. "Nice, I'm jealous." The Skrell attacked. Darren moved like liquid violence. The weapon in his hands barked, loud, percussive, primitive, and 2 Skrell collapsed with holes punched through their carapaces. He dove sideways, rolling as plasma bolts scorched the ground where he'd stood, came up firing. Another Skrell dropped. Kayla stared for half a second, then her training kicked in. She charged the nearest Skrell, using her weight and momentum to crash into it, her primary fists hammering into its optical cluster until it stopped moving. "That's the spirit," Darren called out, dropping his empty magazine and slapping in a new one without breaking stride. He was laughing again, actually enjoying this. A Skrell blade whipped toward his head. He ducked under it, shoved the barrel of his weapon into the creature's thorax, and fired 3 times. "You know," he said conversationally, vaulting over the collapsing body, "I was supposed to be dropping on a supply depot 3 clicks north. GPS must have glitched. Lucky me." "Lucky?" Kayla crushed a Skrell's neck joint with her boot, then grabbed its blade before it hit the ground. "You call this lucky?" "Sure. If I'd hit the depot, I'd be fighting alone. This way I got company." He shot another Skrell mid-lunge. "You're Vrinthian, right? I read about you guys. Honor-bound warriors never surrender, all that good stuff." "Yes," Kayla said, stabbing upward into a Skrell's soft underbelly. "Thought so. You've got that I'd rather die than quit vibe going. I respect that." 4 Skrell left, then 3, then 2. The last 2 tried to flee. "Oh, no you don't," Darren muttered. He pulled something from his belt, a small cylinder, and threw it. The device attached to one Skrell's back with a magnetic click. "Fire in the hole." The explosion was small, precise, and devastatingly effective. Both Skrell went down. Silence fell over the ash plains. Kayla stood among the bodies, ichor dripping from her borrowed blade, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Darren Holt walked toward her, weapon slung casually over his shoulder, helmet still venting steam. "You're insane," Kayla said. "Yeah, I get that a lot." He extended a hand, a human gesture she'd heard about. "Darren Holt, Human Expeditionary Corps. Technically, I'm AWOL right now, but who's counting?" She stared at the hand, then clasped it with her primary right. His grip was strong, warm. "Kayla Vryn, Vrinthian Shock Infantry, and thank you. Don't mention it." He glanced at the wreckage around them. "So where were you headed before all this?" "Extraction point. 20 kilometers west. My unit was supposed to—" She stopped. Her unit was dead. All of them. Darren must have seen something in her expression because his grin softened. "Hey, you're alive. That counts for something." He checked his weapon. 20 clicks isn't bad. I've got some supplies in my pod, well, what's left of it. And these boots were made for walking. Want some company? Kyla looked at him. This human who had fallen from the sky like a meteor, who laughed in the face of death, who fought with primitive weapons and won. By all logic, she should refuse. Humans were unpredictable, dangerous, but they were also apparently very good at keeping people alive. "Yes," she said. "Company would be acceptable." "Excellent." Darren started walking west, whistling something melodic and entirely out of place. "Fair warning, I talk a lot when I'm walking. You're going to learn way too much about Earth sports teams and why our food is criminally underrated in the galactic community." Despite everything, the pain, the loss, the exhaustion, Kayla's mandibles clicked in what might have been a laugh. Humans were insane, but maybe that was exactly what the universe needed.